everybody. It's nice to see everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. And before we get started, I am going to have you all help me out with something. I like to take the first 5 minutes just to introduce ourselves. So, one, if we could just go ahead and rename ourselves on our Zoom. Ange can help me put the instructions in the chat, but really it's just going to be your first name, last name, and in parentheses, if you could just tell me what CRM you're using. So, if you're a Progreda user or if you're using a different CRM, that just helps me throughout the presentation, addressing any questions you have, understanding what you're using, what you're not using as we go through today's training. So that would be super helpful. I see we're all starting to do that. Thank you so much. See, a lot of us have first and last name. If you could just put in parentheses what CRM you're using, that'd be super great. And I can do the same thing for me so that we can see an example of what my name will look like. And for those of you who have never renamed yourself, if you just hit the participants, hover over your name, click the three dots, and just hit rename. And then the instructions are in the chat for anyone who's never renamed themselves. But that'd be super, again, just super helpful for me so that I know who I'm talking to, how I can address your questions based on what you're using. We can just go ahead and do that. And for those of you who may not know how to, feel free to throw in the chat what you're using. I can always rename you as well. So I know Tammy, Ted, Banya, so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And Jaihin. And I'm also very sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And William, if you could just rename yourselves for me, that'd be great. While they're renaming themselves, I always love to get to know everybody. So feel free to turn your camera on, come off mute, tell me where you're from and what you do, or you can throw it in the chat. I'll go first. My name is Morgan. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I own a marketing agency. So feel free, come off mute, throw it in the chat.
Yes, Morgan. My name is William Thomas. I have been a Toastmaster for 21 years. And for those who don't know what Toastmasters is, it is public speaking and leadership. I've been doing that for 21 years. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, and I live in the city of Hollywood, Florida.
Wow, that's amazing. I am terrible at public speaking. I always say, maybe one day I won't do that. So you might hear that a little bit in my presentation today, but it's nice to meet you. Hopefully you're not getting hit by the hurricanes if you're in Florida.
Hello, I'm Connie Turner. I'm also a Toastmaster, and congratulations to you, William, that I'm headed for that distinction as well. So congratulations to you. I am the owner of E3 Success Global. I am a new customer to Progreda, and I help women to achieve success by changing their self-image. So I'm a self-image strategist, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you.
I love that. That's amazing. And good luck on your road to becoming distinguished. Never been to Nashville yet, but I do go for the first time in December, so I'm excited. Oh, so awesome. Okay, I know there's a couple new faces here. So really, for those who are strolling in, we've just asked if you can rename yourself on the Zoom. So first name, last name, and whatever CRM you're using. And then also if you want to introduce yourself, whether it's in the chat or just coming off mute, what you do, where you're from. And then we'll start in about 1 or 2 more minutes. Oh, nice. Nice to meet you, Tammy. Nurse practitioner with a virtual health practice residing in Rockville. That's super exciting. Nice to meet you, Tammy. Okay, give it about one.
I was just saying this is Rick Grundon from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho on the call.
Nice to meet you, Rick.
Thank you.
What CRM are you using?
I'm not. I just relocated my whole life and business from beautiful Mexico to come take care of my mom and stuff. So I'm kind of starting over in a new venture. Something's been going on since 2001, so it's not a new venture. I'm just starting to join it and starting to promote it.
Awesome. Well, that's very sweet of you to take care of your mother. I know not a lot of people have that opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Never get through stage 4 cancer before, so I've done this a few times where I've just dropped everything, came and lived and took care of my mom and dad, and the most rewarding, thing I could possibly do.
Yeah.
Not pleasurable at all, but the opportunity to do that for them, before my dad passed, and my mom has been on near death situations before, so uh, can't think of anything I'd, be honored to do more than take care of these wonderful people. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so glad you've got to do that and wishing your mother well.
thank you.
Okay. So we'll kind of go ahead and get started and kind of jump into the presentation. Feel free throughout to ask any questions if they arise. I will try and keep an eye on the chat, but do know, I don't know why that started there. Hold on. Do know that we will have a Q&A at the end. So there we go. Can, oh,
Morgan, I just have a quick question for you.
yeah.
Outside of doing this, do you do anything else? Because you look familiar to me. I've seen you somewhere before.
I have done these webinars a lot and I own a marketing agency. So maybe. Okay, everyone should be able to see my screen. Let me know if you cannot. Okay, awesome. Just get this back. Okay, great. All right, well, let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about lead generation, specifically for social media. But for those who don't know who I am, my name is Morgan. I've been in marketing and social media now for a little over 5 years. I've helped hundreds and thousands of businesses and entrepreneurs by providing them strategic services to help grow their business. So one thing that I do that's a little bit differently than your typical marketing agency is I focus holistically on the entire business, see where you're at, where you're wanting to go, and then I come in and design a marketing roadmap for you based on where you're at and where we need to see you go. So I love that. It's a passion of mine. And I've worked with Progreda now for over a year, which I probably should update that. I think it's like 2 years now, so quite a while. And that's a little bit professionally about me. Personally, I have a 2-year-old little boy, well, almost 3. I spend a lot of time with him. Me, my husband, and my son love to travel, watch movies. We love to hike, stuff like that. So that's a little bit about me personally, and I live in Dallas. Okay, so we're going to be talking about social media marketing today. So there are lots of different social media networks. So we're going to talk about some of them today. So for organic social, we have Meta. That's going to be our Facebook and Instagram. We have TikTok. We have X, formerly known as Twitter. We have LinkedIn, Pinterest, Threads, which is somewhat new, and YouTube. So lots of different verticals of social media today. So there's lots of tactics that we'll dive in today on how to build a solid social media strategy and how to capture leads through your social post. So constant and regular posting is going to help with this. And then just lastly, social is very crucial part of your business and helping not only just generate leads, but also helping establish some of that brand awareness, logo recognition. A lot of people nowadays don't go to your website or as much as your Google reviews. They're going to check you out on social media. So it's really important that we have a presence on social media. But the question I get a lot is why social media? And it's because we live in an ever-evolving world today, and more than 1 billion people are on social media using it daily, and we'll look at statistics in just a minute for that. Some other statistics here of why more than 55% of TikTokers have bought something after seeing a brand on an app. So that's just an example of why being on social media is so important. For businesses that are not on social media, you essentially have no digital presence when somebody cannot find you on social media. That is probably the place that they're going to go look first. I know when I look at a product or a service or even someone that I'm thinking about buying from, the first thing that I do is I do go to their social medias. I look at their post, I look at their comments. A lot of the times, if they're not great with customer service, the last place somebody is going to go to is they're going to start commenting on their social posts because they're just so angry and fed up with not being able to get in contact with you. So it's a really great way to see, do they handle customers well? What type of comments and engagement are they getting? And then obviously I always like to look at Google reviews myself, but I like to vet out somebody digitally a lot of the times when I'm putting myself in my own buyer's shoes. So think about that too. When you're buying something or getting a service or a product online, what do you typically do? What are your steps personally that you do before you decide to buy a product or service from somebody? But today we're going to talk about understanding social media users. So we're going to look at some stats. So the first one is 84% of heavy social media users are aged between 18 and 29. So our Gen Z generation, and not kiddos as much anymore, young adults are heavily using social media today. And then more than 33% of the entire population of the world, which is more than billions and billions of people, use social media on a daily basis. So they're using social media every single day. So what does that mean? Your target audience is online. They're using social media. And with the market being so oversaturated with posts, we know these attention spans of our consumers are decreasing day by day. And then the last one is 151 minutes. Is the amount of time internet users spend on social media. It's higher now than it's ever been. That's a lot of time in a day. If you think about how often someone uses social media, I've been guilty, especially on TikTok. I'll be scrolling and scrolling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been on this for an hour. It's so easy to get sucked into it, but it's a really great example to prove that people are on their phones or their computers looking at posts. And so it's really important that you're part of that cycle there. So now we understand a little bit of the social media users and a little bit of the stats. So we're going to talk about what's a target audience and how we can use these stats to our advantage. So target audience is a group of people that your product or service or even your marketing efforts are aimed towards. So typically it can be defined by traits. So for an example, if I'm a luxurious realtor that focuses on houses in the 800,000 plus range, I know that my target audience is probably going to be a little bit more on the wealthy side, probably a little bit more older of a demographic. And so any of my product services or my marketing efforts are really going to be tailored to that specific group of people. Another example is if I'm a fitness trainer and I focus on postpartum women, I know that my marketing efforts and my products and services are geared towards women who have just had babies, trying to get back into their fitness and weight goals. And so my marketing efforts are going to be tailored directly to them. I don't want my Instagram posts or ads or anything of that nature going in front of, maybe a male who's 35 because he's not in postpartum. So that's an example of a target audience. So essentially think about who you're trying to sell to, what are their traits, what defines someone that'd be a good buyer for you. And sometimes that can be pretty broad and sometimes it's really, really narrow. So this could be age, gender, income, interest, challenges, or goals, kind of like what I said with the postpartum fitness. So targeting the right audiences can help you reduce your costs, your efforts, and also help increase those conversions. Because again, we want to have timely conversations and targeted conversations with people that we know are going to be interested in the product or service. So there's lots of ways that we can identify this and help you with the audience. So one is just looking at your competitors. So it's a really good idea for you to figure out, what does a competitor of mine look like? This is just an example of some data that you can gather. So if I'm looking at my competitor, what's their age demographic? You can see in the blue over here, you have about 66% male and a 33% female audience demographic of my competitor. So then I can think of myself in that nature and be like, okay, do I have more males that typically buy from me than female? Or do I want to have both? Is my product and service geared towards both? When I look at this data, what this tells me here is whatever product or service of this competitor that I'm comparing to, it's very male dominated with only 33% of females interested in this product or service. But if it's geared towards both, this is a prime opportunity for you to help increase that gap in the female audience. So maybe you need to target your social media posts a little bit more towards the female audience as it relates to your product and service, given that you do have a lot of buy-in on the male side with that almost 70%, but you do have a lot less female side. So that's an example of how you can use that competitor data and things that I would do when I'm thinking about, okay, how do I want to help increase your conversions, help with the gap, get you a diverse audience if that's the product or service that you are selling that goes towards both. Some other things here is you can look at interests. So you can see newspaper, retail, publishing, mass media, online services. So these are the interests of your competitors' target audience. So if I know that they're looking a lot on services, media, publishing, retail, newspaper, it's probably some sort of driven service that is giving them information, is educational. There might be a little bit of a buying side of like an apparel or some sort of thing that they can tangibly buy outside of a digital product. But that's kind of what this tells me. So it kind of also tells you, okay, so I know that there's a male and a female audience, and the diversity is just a little bit more geared towards male. And then I know that most of their interests lie in between these things. So when I'm thinking about a social media post, I know that I'm going to gear it towards maybe a little bit more female to kind of help raise that gap. And then I'm going to talk about one of these interests as it relates to my product. So is there an online service that I offer that's relatable to women within my service that I can help not only increase my conversions, but kind of help with the gap with the women within the competitive landscape? So again, how I'm looking at the data and comparing the competitive landscape to my own product or service to fit a target audience. I think, William, you had a question.
Well, I had more of a comment. I actually used to be in sales myself. I did door-to-door sales, and I used to sell brooms and mops and things like that. And my biggest customers were women. I mean, for my company, I was the number one salesman of the year in the company. I was number one salesman of the year. And my sales were to women. I mean, any woman I spoke to, I always made a sale. But when I spoke to a guy, it was a different story. We had a guy by the name of Richard, who I trained. He did better selling to men. I did better selling to women. That's just all I wanted to share with the group.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about different forms and styles of communication and how that does affect your conversion. But yeah, that's true. Depending on your communication style and how well the opposite person receives it will depend sort of on your conversion too. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But thanks for sharing. And then lastly, what we can see here from the competitive side is social media. So as it relates to my competitors, I can kind of see where on the social side that they're posting the most to. So in this particular service, you can see they do a lot of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so forth and so on here. So this is a great place for you to stop and question, okay, am I on YouTube? Am I on Facebook? Am I on Instagram? And then you can kind of start to compare and contrast, what they're posting, how well it's performing. And this can help you define your kind of foundational strategy for social media and how you want to target those audiences for your product or service that you're offering. The other one that you can do is internal data. So we're actually going to take a look at Progreda for just a second. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can also use internal data for specific target audiences as it relates to your strategy or maybe a particular product or service. So what we're going to do is take a look at a couple different tabs, and I just want to make sure that it switches. Yeah, it does. Okay. So what you're seeing now is a contact tab here inside of Progreda. Essentially, this is where you can house all of your contacts. What I have is a pre-filter here by a tag. Tags are essentially internal ways that you can bucket and organize your contacts inside of Progreda, because a lot of the times our target audience can be diverse. So I may have a product or service that's more geared towards female, male, or particular age, interest, etc., versus another product. So we'll want to bucket those out inside the system. So I took new lead as an example. So we're going to just act like we're trying to just get new leads on social, regardless of the product or service that we offer. So anytime someone comes in from social media, they're going to be tagged as a new lead. Well, in this case, I have about 40 contacts, and I can go ahead and blast a text to them, an email. I can add them into a pipeline if I want to move them to a specific stage. This is just going to allow me to decide, okay, once I do capture that lead, what are those next steps that I need to take in order to help convert them into a closed deal for myself? So do I want to nurture them a little bit more? Do I want to send out communications? Do I want to send a one-off? So let's just say you have a new product or service dropping with this tag. You can tag based on those interests that you initially tagged, and then you could drop a text or an email saying, hey, I have this new product that's dropping based on your previous purchase of X, Y, and Z. I think you'd be a great fit for this one, or however you want to word it. But it's a really great way to have internal data where you can consistently communicate with leads, even if they haven't closed, based on those interests of how they initially came in and how you captured them. So this is one way that you can do it. Another is in the automation side. So if you go to automation over here on the left-hand side, this is what will kind of pop up once you start building. But I just did an example. So as a new lead comes from social media, we're going to add a new lead as a tag. We're going to send the lead a text message, and then we're going to move them on the pipeline as an organic lead from Facebook. So that just tells the system to kind of move them where they need to be moved without you manually having to do it. So it just kind of puts time back in your plate, allows you to get more revenue back in your pocket quicker. So this is another way. There's lots of different action stuff. We won't go deep into that, but this is one way that you can kind of manually move or automatically move those social media leads throughout the system, kind of talk to them how you want to talk to them, move them where you need to move them. So that way you're not having to worry about doing it. The other thing is this conversation tab. So as people start to conversate with you, including social media, you can integrate Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. So anytime someone Facebook messages you or Instagram DMs you, you actually have those options here to conversate with them. So maybe you start on social media. We all know the famous or the really popular DM me the word, blah, 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 to get started. And so let's just say they do that, it'll automatically come into Progreda, and you can automate those responses, or you can, if you want to be more genuine and you're like, nope, I need to take this manually because of my particular product or service, you can do that. But essentially, this is where you're going to be able to conversate and send those out. So you can see here, here's an automated email, welcome aboard. You can see that this person got moved as an organic lead from Facebook. And if I wanted to, I could one-off continue to message between this person to kind of help move them through the flow. So it's really going to consolidate all your social media efforts into one place where you can conversate with people one-off as well. Lastly, the other thing is this dashboard. It's the first tab that you see on the left-hand side. This is a really great way for you to manage all the social leads, advertising leads, just really any leads, but we'll do social to focus today. But you can see, okay, I have, 212 people that I have brought in from social media. They're valued at about $49,000. My conversion rate is about 20%. So I've earned about 35,000. Here. So it's a really great way to kind of see where everyone's at. You're also going to be able to see where they're at in the funnel stage. So a lot of them are just in those initial new lead stages. So just a new organic lead from Facebook. Some of them I'm doing targeted email marketing for. Some of them have actually booked an appointment and I'm going to try and get on a call with them and convert them and close them. Some I've sent the invoice, I'm just waiting for them to pay. And here's, they've closed the deal, I've won them, I'm moving on. So it's a really great way to see one, where everyone is at. But as you can see, the cumulative and the next step conversion, I always like to highlight these two things because this is going to really tell you if you have a potential bottleneck within your customer flow. And I won't dive deep into this because we're going to talk more about social media, but this is really going to help you understand, okay, if I'm really good at capturing them at social media, maybe I'm not as great moving them through to get to an appointment. So this is really going to help you understand your strategy as far as, okay, what did I say on my post that really initiated that conversation and why are they stalling? So it's really going to help you understand where those bottlenecks are, but B, maybe you need to redefine that social post just a little bit more. Maybe you need to add a little bit more clarity. Maybe you need to tone it back a little bit, but this is really going to help you with your strategy and you're going to be able to put that into your social media strategy as well. But those are just a couple of examples of once a lead from social media comes into your CRM, how you can effortlessly move them, contact them, automatically message them, kind of understand where everyone is flowing from social media here. So just an internal way to kind of look at your data too. So you have that competitive data we just talked about. Now you have your own internal data and how do the two marry each other? What are the contrast comparisons, and it can kind of really help you overall with your social strategy. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how to gain visibility on social media. So this is where we're going to start talking about communication. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with Brandon Kane. I stole this from him. He's amazing. But he has been in the social media world and advertising for years. But he talks about the communication algorithm. And so essentially there are 6 ways that we all tend to communicate. So our majority are based on fun, facts, and feelings. So fun is, wow, I love this, I like this, this looks amazing. Feelings is really drawing that emotion out in that particular post. So do you feel like you typically gear towards feeling-based posts? And then you end up buying something or donating or enrolling in some sort of service or product. Then you have facts. So this is like, 25% of blah, 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 see results in 2 weeks, or studies show that within the next 2 years, this is how this is going to affect you. So the majority of not Americans, but just humans in general, our communications are funds, facts, and feelings. And then we have imagination. So this is where it's really going to draw out. Imagine yourself in 5 years. Think about where you're going to be at financially, or in this house, or in this job or career. So it's really drawing out the imagination side of feelings. Then you have values. So people are really geared towards values as far as their communication style. And then the last one is action. So going just straight to that call to action, make it happen, bottom line, enough talking, sign me up right now. So those are kind of the 6 point of communications. Yes, William.
Since you're talking about this, I will tell you that for me, it's all 6, depending where I'm at on the particular day. Some days it's feeling. If I see something that I like, I'll buy it right away. Other days, it's something that I saw on a friend. I'll give you a good example. I was with a friend of mine at the mall last week, and there was a sweater that she got. I really liked it. It was beautiful on her. It fit her very well. But for me, the color was not the color that I liked. But for her, it was perfect.
William, buddy, we're all trying to watch a presentation, and I appreciate your stories, but can we stay focused on the presentation?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Don't be sorry. I'm just saying, like, it's not relevant. But thank you.
I think I'll just leave then. Thanks. Anyway, have a nice day.
So sorry, William. Okay. Well, feel free, anyone, to speak up. I want everyone to feel comfortable here speaking and sharing stories. It's totally fine. We'll get back on topic if anyone wants to share stories, but just know that I'm totally open to you asking questions, telling stories. But what he was starting to say is true. Sometimes we are a little bit different based on the day, what's going on in our lives, on that communication style. And so we'll talk about that in just a second. But again, we had the fun, facts, feelings. So the 6 different types of communication. So we're gonna look at an example of what this looks like. So we have a customer, and we have the marketing director. On paper, they look the same. They're both female, 30 to 35 years old, high income jobs. They both love to shop at Macy's. They both have children, they're married, and they have graduated from a university. So I would think, as a marketer in general, or someone who owns a business, if I'm in the Macy's side of the house, I'd be like, okay, well, if they both love Macy's, then we'll just talk about a particular product or clothing piece or perfume or whatever at Macy's, and we'll just make it geared in general about that. And then most likely they'll both want to buy because they're high income. We know they have the funds and they both love Macy's. So we're going to just put a Macy's post in front of them. But here's the difference. So the marketing director is really based off feelings, values, and fun. That's the majority of her communication style, where the customer is very action, imaginative, and facts. So if my post was only factual or only feeling driven, only one of these buyers would actually end up converting because my communication style was only geared towards the marketing director. It did not sit well or really resonate with the customer because I was very feeling driven or fun driven in my social media posts rather than a little bit more of action. So I say all that to say that instead of being one or the other, we need to have all 6 when we're thinking about our social media posts, because you never know what type of communicator is your customer. And so if we can do all 6, it's going to help us in the long run by captivating every potential communicator and potential buyer. So an example of this is a long time ago, before Keller Williams became Keller Williams. They were just starting out in their social strategy. We all know when we see real estate posts, they're typical, here's the picture of the house or maybe a quick little video of it. And the post is genuinely 3-bed, 2-bath, half an acre backyard in this neighborhood at this cost. So it's typically very factual. And Keller Williams, I think, started to notice that all the realtor or brokerages out there were kind of very similar, and they wanted to kind of set themselves apart. So they actually went to Brandon Kane at that time, and they kind of helped unravel this communication style. Well, Keller Williams started to their post started to stray away from factual, and they started to put all 6 in the post. So they'd put a little bit of facts. So this is, the facts of it, but then they're like, imagine yourself with your kids here playing in the backyard. They're going to go to a great school in a good school district. You can, this is going to be, a quick house that's going to go off the market. So they're kind of hitting, in their entire post, they're hitting the imaginations, the values of being in a family home, the facts about where it's at, the feelings, oh, it's going to be in a good school district, action driven, oh, it's going to go fast though, like this is the house that you need for your family. So it's really starting to incorporate all 6 communication styles within your post. So that way your post is resonating with any potential communication style versus being only really geared towards a couple. Again, this is kind of hard to start to imagine. So the challenge that I would do is at least incorporate funds, facts, and feelings, because that's 25, 25, and 30%. So that's majority of the communication styles. You're leaving a little bit off there, but if you can start to get used to, okay, does my post invoke feelings, funds, and facts? Does it invoke imagination, actions, value driven? So think about those things in your next social media post and try to incorporate some of those different, and they don't have to be long. It could be a short little sentence, a couple of words, to kind of hit each of those points, but it's going to resonate with, again, every single communicator there. Okay, now let's talk about content. So content is really important. I always like to say quality over quantity. The reason why I want to hit on that is quality content is so important. We live in an oversaturated world in digital technology. If your content is not quality content, someone's going to immediately swipe. If it's bad lighting, if it's a blurry picture, if the audio is terrible, I'm going to swipe. And think about that for yourselves. If you're on social media and you're scrolling and you see something that's not good quality, you're typically just scrolling. Because if you can't hear the person, if it's blurry, if it's a bad picture, you're just not going to give it the time of day. Um, Attention spans are also very short nowadays. Studies have come out saying that all of our attention spans as humans are now less than a goldfish. Gen Z is 1.3 seconds, 1.3 seconds for you to captivate and hook somebody, to grab their attention, retain their attention, whether they're watching your video or reading your post on social media, and enough time to where they don't scroll, and the algorithms continue to push you out there. So, very important that quality content matters. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that you have to go out and buy a production team to get these great videos or pictures. There's a ring light on Amazon. It's $25. You can put your phone in it. Just Google, iPhone or Android ring light. On Amazon, you're going to find tons of different options. Or find a window that has really great lighting. Right now, I don't have a ring light on me at all. I'm just sitting in front of my office window, but it's very sunny outside. And you can see the lighting is good here. Mics are also very cheap. Quality audio is good too when you think about those things. So think about what you have accessibility to. If you want to produce high performing quality content, great. And you have the money to invest into a production company, great. I'm going to say do that 9 times out of 10, depending on your service, sometime depending on your service, just need to be more genuine. And people are going to want you sitting in front of your phone, just having a conversation versus sitting there all professional. So think about those things, but quality content is so important. So I'm going to challenge you all right now. If you're not posting on social media today, start posting, even if it's 1 time a week, quality content consistently. So I want you to write down, okay, how many times can I for sure get quality content out, every week? And then what is my time frame look like right now? Am I super busy? Do I have a lot going on and I really can't dedicate a lot? Great. Do once a week. And just start getting more involved in that quality content over quantity. You do not have to post every single day to achieve social media conversions. I know that's a big myth out there. People will be like, post every single day on your stories constantly. No, quality over quantity. And so the other thing we're going to talk about is algorithms will not show your content if there is no retention. So say that you're posting frequently, you're posting every single day, and you're just like, I cannot get traction here. It's because your quality of the content is not great, or your message with the quality content is not great either. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But algorithms, essentially there's a big myth out there that if I spend a lot of money on the ad platforms, they'll put my content out there. That is not true. What the algorithms on every single social media platform look at, because of TikTok, is when someone scrolls on your post, whether it's just a photo or just a video, how long do they watch the video before they swipe? Do they read your entire post before they swipe? Do they like, do they comment, do they share your post? Those are the things that algorithms look at. So if you have a video that's not great quality and it doesn't have really great copy or good storytelling, guess what? Someone's going to look at that and immediately swipe. And when that happens, the algorithms are being told, okay, your content is not interesting enough to grab the attention of your consumers. So we're not going to put you on the For You pages because it'd be a waste of their time. They want people they want to gravitate people's attention to social posts because they spend more time on the platform, typically spending more money. And guess what? It's a win-win for everybody. So it's really important to think about that when you're going to be posting something. What is the retention of that going to look like? And sometimes it's just a test to see, okay, what can I say? Did this video do well? What was the typical link that they did that? A really small hack that you can do that everyone does, and I'm sure you've seen it before, is it's a quick little video. It's like 3 seconds and it says read the caption for more info. It's a quick hack for people as they're reading because now they're curious. They're just looping your video over and over again. So it's kind of tricking the algorithms to thinking, oh, they're really watching this video over and over again. So that's something that you can do too, is think about, oh, can I do a 3 or 4 second video? Maybe of you typing, maybe of you speaking, maybe of you making your product or service or packaging it, and say, read the caption. A lot of the times people are going to be too curious at that, and it's going to be like, oh wait, what is it? And they're going to start reading it, and they're at least going to play your video 1 or 2 times. So it's really important that your copy also resonates with that, which we'll actually start to talk about that now. So writing good copy. So it's really important that we write good copy, and you can use a framework for this. And we're going to kind of talk about that framework today a little bit, but one of the frameworks is your copy has to hook the user. So think about yourselves in general, but also just we have 1.3 seconds to hook somebody. So typically that's a statement, that's a question. So it can be a controversial type clickbaity question. One example is I work for one of my clients is in the mental health space for men. So he has a community group where men can come in and kind of have that support. And then he also has like an apparel side. So we kind of did some testing on social media where we're like, okay, maybe we hook them by starting to say, this is why I don't believe in today's mental health for men. Immediately, people are going to be like, excuse me, what do you mean? And they're going to want to continue to listen to that. So that's an example where you got to really think about, how do I hook my target audience, my consumer, my buyer? How do I get them to read and continue to either watch my video or read my caption for more information? Once you do that, you need to research a little bit. So the other thing that I like to say about this is something that I heard someone else say. I can't remember who. It's someone in the social media world, but once you hook them, we've got to figure out how we press and release. So, just you've got to be a good storyteller at the end of the day. There's too many videos out there that you can't just hook them and immediately give them the answer. You're gonna have to do this little song and dance here. And a good way to look at that is just research in general. So, I always like to say, go on TikTok or Instagram and just type in your service or product. Look at the top performing post. Now, look at the top performing posts in general because everything is a trend nowadays anyway. But what I like to do is I like to see, okay, this person's video did really well. What were the questions in the comments? Or is there a particular theme that people in my industry or buyers in my industry are curious about? Okay, great. So I know that this subject is very hot and heavy in my industry. This is the typical questions I get. So how can I wrap that up into a story where I hook them? Because I know a lot of people are asking about it. And then I kind of just tell this story where I'm pressing and releasing to get them to either finish the entire video and want to learn more from me. So I don't give the entire answer. I give enough of wanting more. But then also, how do I also address the question that's being asked across my industry? It's really great to do some of that social research just to kind of figure out, what are other people talking about? What are consumers, buyers asking questions? What kind of comments are they leaving? It's going to give you a really great idea of what you need to be talking about. And then test. Sometimes you're going to feel like you have a genius idea and you're going to put it out there and it might flop. That is okay. You're not going to achieve virality immediately. There's lots of different frameworks that work. Also, trends change overnight. So what you might come up with may be totally irrelevant within the next few weeks. And that's okay. Because as long as we're continuing to stay on top of our own industry, on top of our own like social trends in general, this is really going to help me. Yes, I will be able to send the recording out. It'll be on YouTube later on the Progreda YouTube channel. But yeah, so you're gonna have to test this out and just start to look at the analytics and see, okay, did I get more views? Did I get more likes? Did I get comments? Did I get conversions? Once you find something that works, stick with it. Continue to do it until it's not a trend anymore. Ride the wave on whatever you're doing that's working. And then you're just gonna kind of repeat this process. Which we to repeat. So copy, it's really important. We use a solid framework. We hook them, whether it's a question, a statement, something that's controversial, and then we're going to do some research, test, and repeat with that. Okay, Other things is call to actions. So call to actions is just driving the user to either an outside source. So it could be a website, a blog post, a landing page, link tree or link in bio. And so the other thing is you want to also get your audience to interact with your work. So this is going to help you get a step closer to a higher return on your investment, which means turning your passive viewers into active participants. So we're going to look at some examples here. So the social pilot post here, we can see so a couple different things. One, it's hard to spend on marketing while your business is finding its feet in the market. As any business owner, including myself as a marketing agency, I can resonate with this. It's really hard to invest in where you want to invest when you start a business because we typically don't have the funds for it, but we know we need it. And so immediately that's a great attention grabber right there for anybody who's a business owner when it comes to investment. This next call to action is check out 9 small budget marketing ideas. Grow your business without breaking the bank account. So it's just really quick. It grabs my attention and it gives me a call to action. It puts the link on there, and now I can be like, oh, wait, so I don't have to spend thousands of dollars on marketing if I can't right now. I can do small things to help until I get to that point where I can invest in a marketing team. So this is a really great example of a way that you can kind of quickly hook your buyer or consumer or target audience and give them that link. The other thing I want to highlight here in the call to actions is nowadays people don't want you to be super salesy in your call to action. So if your call to action is buy from me now or work with me now or this price for whatever or free, blah, 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 blah. They're like, nope, they're running away from you. So think about that too in your call to action. Do not make it salesy because a lot of research is saying that, and especially the Gen Z culture does not like salesy content. They don't think it's genuine. They're going to swipe right past you. So this is a great example of how this is not this call to action has nothing to do with trying to get their money immediately. It's genuinely being helpful. Now, I'm sure at the end of the day, they're going to try and get that money, and that's totally fine and totally normal. But just an example here in your call to action, don't be salesy in your call to action. You won't do well on social media with that. Another popular one is the DM me. So strategies for encouraging users to DM you the word start or, more info, start, wealth, etc. We're all probably very familiar with those type of posts. It's very popular right now. Side note on this, you can actually do this within Progreda. So there is an automation that you can do a reply channel from Instagram with the word or phrase start, and then you can automate the customer's journey. So let's just say you're trying to get people to download an ebook or book a call with you or whatever the case may be, you can do like DM me the word start to get started, and then Progreda can automate all those responses with that person on Instagram. So it's going to help really kind of take some things off your plate and try and automate some things. So I want to dive into that completely, but think about those things of how can I automate this as a business owner, because all these things take time. So how can we put time back in your pocket while also putting more money in your pocket? So this is another great way to do that. And then Progreda, or I guess any CRM, it just depends on the features, will do this where they can help automate that customer journey, help that person get to a conversion faster for you. Now we're going to talk about the type of post. So you have static posts. So this is like a single image or carousel of multiple images on your feed. So we can see here the bulldozer is just a single image. And then we have a deep soil, heavy excavation and soil excavation carousel where they kind of swipe. The one thing I'll say here is based on the data from the social media platforms, static images perform the least when it comes to engagement. People they just don't engage with a static post, a graphic, or a photo. If you're going to do a photo of some sort, you'll want to do a carousel photo, or they just came out with photo reels too not long ago. So you can do both of those options. However, I get that it's sometimes hard to come up with all different types of content. So it is okay to post a static post every now and again, but I would not make that your main source at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, someone wants to know you and know the person behind the screen and know that you're helpful and you know what you're talking about. So usually can't really achieve that with just a photo. Carousels are really good. Those are above static post. And then you obviously have videos. Those are the most highest performing. So here's an example of a video that we did for a client. So videos and reels are very popular and the biggest across the board when it comes to engagement. So if you can do videos, I would highly encourage that more often than a photo or static. Now, the other thing is photo reels are now becoming more popular. So that's another form that you can do alongside of photos. Where you can put a trending sound on the photo and let it kind of scroll through with your caption if you really just don't have a good video that you can post. But I would encourage you, for those who don't already have it and don't have the funds in your business to invest in a marketing team, production team to help with this effort, just get a ring light off Amazon, again, iOS or Android, and start hooking it up. It's very easy. CapCut is a free software where you can start to pull in some of those videos and kind of help you get started on your social media journey here. Okay, so I want to show you some more proof in the pudding of virality. So I'll show you some of my own metrics here. So this is, oops, sorry. This is metrics through Google Data Studio. You can see that we increase their impressions, their reach, and even their website clicks by trying out some of those communication styles, those frameworks. Here's a before also. So, oh my goodness, why does it keep doing that? So here's a before. You can see it's kind of just, they have little bumps every now and again. Oh, sorry. Why did that's backwards. Sorry. You had this little bump and then it kind of just goes stagnant. And then when we involve the hook point method, you can see now it's going up and down. So you can see some there. And this is what I encourage you to look at. Do your impressions, engagements go up? Do your video views go up? Do your comments go up? Do people share or save your post? That's going to tell you if something is resonating with your audience, and continue to do that. Continue to post very similar things, if not the same thing, same trend that you're using to kind of ride that virality boat there. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do social media inside of Progreda for those of you who may not have a social tool or maybe want to automate some of this. Maybe you can only do one day out of the week to really build out some of these posts. So Progreda is great for that. So I'm going to play this video in the chat. If you can't hear it, let me know. All right, so let's chat about what it looks like to actually start posting and scheduling content inside of your Progreda account. So you can go into Progreda, go into the marketing tab here, and then click on social planner. If you have not been using this is the page that you're going to get. So you're going to have to connect some of your social media accounts, at least 2 of them, to get started. Once you connect them, this is what it's going to look like. So I can come in here and decide to create a new post. I can see the connect socials, total posts per day. I can open a planner, etc. So I can click on create new post. I know I'm going to want to click Facebook and Instagram. I can do a post, story, or reel here. So I can also customize for each channel. So it's very user friendly and dynamic on how you choose to create content. Now, I'm going to take a step back and dive into how to do social media if you've really never done content on your own for your social channels. So I love to use Canva. Canva is a really great place to get started on creating at least static images for now. And then, you can create videos and presentations as well. But let's just say I'm looking for an Instagram post. I can click on Instagram and I want to do a portrait graphic. There are already going to be templates here that you can choose from, but I'm going to show you what it looks like to create a blank Instagram post. I know for my account, if you look back, it's Soulful Health. So I'm going to be probably wanting something a little bit more health related. So I can search design templates. So I'm just going to put natural health, for example.
I can start to see all the different natural health templates to kind of start with, kind of get my, brain flowing on what exactly I would want to use, something that matches my vibe, my colors, but also something I know that's going to resonate with my audience too. So I have a younger audience, so something like this is going to be really great. It's got my boho, it's got a little bit of my colors already. So I could probably click on this, and then maybe I can say, you know, maybe I want to post about the top 5 things to add into your diet. Maybe I want to talk about like gut health or something. So I can move that around. I can make it a little bit smaller. I can call this the ultimate gut health here. And then I can come in here and start putting down, fermented foods, for example. I can put in healthy fats like avocados. Oops. I can put in nuts, almonds for brain health. And then again, I probably want to make that a bit smaller. Can do like omegas. So, I would probably want to do salmon, like salmon for omegas for brain development. And then maybe I want to do vegetables or fiber and antioxidants. So I can adjust that again, make this one smaller so it looks like it's gonna fit in here. And then I can do eating healthy. I can do soulful _health. I can add my logo or whatever the case may be. So do you see how quick that was to make changes or edits? I can also, move the leaf back. I can also search up elements. Maybe I want to add in, like gut health, see if there's anything, graphic wise for gut health. So I kind of like some of these here. I can click really on any, let's just say I wanted to do like trust your gut. It's kind of cute. I can put that in the corner here. Obviously I wouldn't really do that, but you get the idea of like maybe how you would want to do this. So like this is like gut microbiome. So maybe I want to like really put that kind of behind here. There's lots of different ways that you can go about adding different elements. Maybe I want to do like vegetables, for example, and maybe I want to do actual photos. There's videos, shapes, if you want to do different shapes. So there's lots that you can do here to make it unique and somewhat your own. You can add in different text. So you can do like simple text here, but you can also look at these different types. So just say I wanted this type of font, I could put that in here. And then obviously I could do like that health, for example, and change it to look like that. So really easy to edit and maneuver Canva, but that's a little bit of walkthrough. You can also upload your own or have your own branded templates here, draw projects, audio, etc. So there's a lot that you can pull in here, but let's just say this is the graphic that I want to use. So I'm going to hit share, download. I'm going to do transparent background with PNG. Actually, I'm not because I have a cute background. I'm going to just hit download, and here it is downloaded. Now, the next thing is I want a caption. I want a nice caption that's going to captivate my audience. So just like our first session last time, we kind of leveraged ChatGPT. We're going to do that again to give us some ideas of some, Instagram descriptions that we can use for gut health. So I can come over here and ask ChatGPT to give me a description. So I'm going to start typing out what I'm going to do. So just give me 1 second. All right, so you can see here that I wrote out a description. So write me an Instagram post for my Soulful Health business. I have a graphic explaining the 5 things you can add into your diet for ultimate gut health, fermented omegas, healthy nuts and veggies. I want to encourage excite my followers to make these changes. I do not want a super long post and I want the post to be engaging. So I'm gonna send that there and let's see what happens. Great, perfect. So revitalize your digestion, transform your health. I would probably change this. That's not how I talk to my community. But great way to say, are you ready to elevate your gut health? Swipe to the left, incorporate these power pack nutrients. Why not start today? So kimchi is fermented almonds. That's that fat or that, nuts and seeds, omega for fats, etc. So are you ready to embrace? I said I wanted it engaging, so in the comments below, tag us in your gut loving creation. So this is really going to allow, like one of those call to actions that we talked about earlier. This is really going to allow you to and have your followers engage with you, but also drive them to do an action, which is we want them to share what they're making. And then we have some of those hashtags again for that static post that we talked about earlier. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go back into Progreda. I know that I have my copy here, so I'm just going to paste it. It's great to go. I can see the preview. I'm going to add a photo. So I'm going to add from my library and I'm going to upload my file to it. And I'm going to select my file. It's going to come in here and upload, and then I'm going to select it here. And now I can see exactly what that looks like. Probably need to change this a little bit, but you get the gist of what Canva can do. And then what I'm going to do is either save it for later or I can schedule the post. So I'm going to schedule it maybe for Friday at around 9 a.m. And I'm going to schedule that post and then boom. That's what it's going to look like. And you can see all of the info here. So really great way to utilize Progreda for your social media management. And then again, this is going to help you just start to plan things out and diversify some of that content. If you're not doing so already, Progreda is a great place to be doing that.
Okay. So that's another feature in Progreda that you can use for social media. So for those of you who want to kind of schedule it all at once when you have the time, I highly recommend doing that. Okay, so I'm actually going to talk to you about 2 special offers that I have available to you today. One is going to be a free ebook by yours truly. It's valued at $99. However, it's free today. But here's what it's going to do. So it's about how to captivate and create virality. So I'm going to give you the framework. So step by step, how to build out a hook, how to tell a story, and then how to do a call to action. I'm also going to give you free ChatGPT prompts. So in the video, it kind of shows like a old one, but this one is actually more geared towards social media in general, how it incorporates the framework and the trendy side of social. So I'm going to give you those away. I have a ton in there that I give away. I also give over 30 different scripts for you and content ideas. So you get your first 30 days in there along with some different case studies. But this is super, super valuable for those who have never gotten into social media and you have no idea where to start. I basically give you the framework, the hook, the ChatGPT prompts that you can start to use and the first 30 days. So in the chat, feel free to download it. Again, it's completely free, but it's really going to help you start that social media journey. The other thing is some of you are not using a CRM today. So I am going to give a free trial away to Progreda. Usually it's only 7 days on the website. It's 14 days if you use the link in the chat as well. So if you're not using a system to help automate some of the social media journey, highly recommend you trial this out. Start using the social media planner. That's the most easy and accessible thing to start doing. Start using the DME the word start and build an automation to kind of take your customer journey, kind of automate that customer journey and your customers throughout their journey. So highly recommend Progreda for those of you who are not using a CRM. Some other things that I want to talk about with Progreda is, again, we kind of I showed this a little bit earlier, but you have all these different features. So the dashboard is going to show you really what's going on within your account. Conversations is where every single platform that you're communicating with customers on gets thrown into one single view. So that way you're not having to hop to Facebook, to Instagram, to your text message, to your email. It's just all in one place, which really helps streamline your replies. Calendars, it's kind of like Calendly. You can connect your Google or even Outlook or Apple to check for conflicts there. That's what I do. Contacts, where you house and bucket everybody and organize your target audience. Opportunities, see where everyone's at in their journey with you and what steps they need to take to get to that close. You can also do payments through Progreda. So this is where you can actually send out invoices and collect your money. Marketing is just like email marketing, and this is where the social media planner will live. Automation. Automation's going to live in where you can automate your journeys. There's lots of different triggers and actions, sites, websites, landing pages, forms, surveys, membership. If you're the type to have courses or private communities, it's a great way to start selling your courses and get people into your community. And then lastly is reputation management. So if you're not great at getting reviews after you've completed your service, you can automate that through Progreda. So that's a quick 1,000-foot overview of all the different things that you can automate within your business. Again, putting more time in your pocket and more money in your pocket. So again, I would say the top 5 things: managing your leads, it's super effective. Automate that so that way you're not spending time on that. Communicating with your leads, have one streamlined place where you can go back and respond to everybody, because it is so hard to keep track of someone here versus here versus here. Store your leads, have a good storage for the lead. There are great CRM capabilities within this tool to help you keep your leads, tag them appropriately, so that way you can kind of help with those middle funnel marketing objectives or communication when it's necessary. And then lastly, it's going to help you create powerful marketing campaigns. So that way, once you do capture a lead, you can nurture them automatically. Again, it doesn't fall on your plate to manually put in the time to do that. So again, it's 14-day free trial, $3.99 a month once you do sign up. But I highly suggest for those who are not using a CRM, take some of that time off your plate, use the 2 weeks to your advantage to really start to see if this can be something that's of value to you. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is Q&A. So I'm going to stop my screen share. If you want to come off of mute or throw your question in the chat, would love to chat with anybody if they have questions about anything we talked about today.
And Morgan, you provide consultations.
I do actually. I do provide a free consultation. It's a 30-minute consultation, I believe, for free. And that is in the chat too. Thanks, Anne, for being on top of that. You can book a consultation. This consultation is just like a free strategy, so I can talk to you about what you're doing today, give you strategy, or we can talk about marketing services too if you're looking for marketing. So that's typically the road that you can take. I let you choose the road, and I'm just there to help support you. Any other questions for anyone? Okay, I'm gonna give it about 2 more minutes. At 2:10, if we have no other questions, I'll conclude. Oh, sorry, 2:10 Central for those who are not in Central. So it's either gonna be 3:10 your time, 1 or 12:10. So 1 more minute. But I super appreciate everybody and their time. I love doing these. I do these every 2 weeks where I really talk about social media, advertising, really kind of help give you that education. So if you can't invest or don't have time, or have the time, but you don't have the investment, you have the knowledge to kind of move your business forward on the digital side. Okay. About less than a little bit of a minute, and then I'll conclude if no one has any questions. But if you haven't already, download the ebook. It's amazing. It's going to help you do the free trial if you don't have a CRM. If you'd like a free strategy call, I'm happy to jump on a 30-minute call with you and kind of discuss what you're doing, give you tips to move you forward in your business. Okay. All right. Well, everyone have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And it was lovely getting to see all of you.